Welcome to this presentation on the importance of studying trade and commerce history. Throughout human civilization, the exchange of goods, ideas, and resources has played a pivotal role in shaping societies, economies, and international relations. Trade is not just an economic activity. It is a powerful driver of cultural contact, innovation, migration, and even conflict. By delving into its history, we uncover the forces that shape the modern world, from ancient caravans and maritime ports to digital markets and global trade agreements. This journey will help us appreciate the foundational role of commerce in human development and reveal why this subject remains essential for anyone preparing for university or entering a globally connected workforce. Foundations of global economic exchange. Trade and commerce history begins with the earliest forms of exchange. Barter systems, local markets, and the gradual emergence of long-distance trade. These ancient trade networks, including the famed Silk Road, Trans-Saharan routes, and Indian Ocean maritime highways, connected civilizations across continents. They allowed goods such as silk, spices, metals, and ceramics to move vast distances, but they also transmitted ideas, religions, languages, and technologies. Understanding these early systems helps us trace the origin of global economic exchange, appreciate the interdependence of regions, and recognize how trade helped lay the groundwork for international diplomacy, urban development, and even scientific progress. Rise of markets and institutions. As trade flourished, it gave rise to more sophisticated forms of economic organization. Markets expanded beyond mere places of exchange to become hubs of financial activity, cultural life, and political power. Alongside these developments, we see the rise of empires like Rome, the Islamic caliphates, and colonial powers, which relied heavily on commerce to finance their expansion and govern their territories. Financial institutions emerged to support trade. Coinage, credit systems, banking, and joint stock companies all played vital roles. Studying this evolution reveals how commerce shaped the political geography of the world, strengthened the infrastructure of cities, and necessitated the development of legal frameworks and bureaucracies that endure today. Trade policies and economic systems. Throughout history, trade has been shaped by a variety of economic ideologies and government policies. Students learn how mercantilism in early modern Europe drove imperial expansion and colonization, as nations competed for wealth by controlling trade routes and resources. Later, the rise of liberalism brought about arguments for free trade, capitalization. In contrast, protectionist policies and tariffs have been used to shelter domestic industries. Understanding these systems enables students to critically analyze ongoing debates about economic nationalism, trade wars, global inequality, and the reform of institutions like the WTO. It also provides the tools to assess how policies influence development outcomes and power relations on the global stage. Human side of commerce. Trade history is not just about abstract forces or market trends, it is fundamentally a human story. It reveals how ordinary individuals experienced commerce in deeply personal ways, whether as merchants traveling long distances, enslaved people sold as commodities, laborers working in harsh conditions, or consumers navigating new goods and fashions. These narratives show how commerce has always had winners and losers, and how it could empower, exploit, or transform communities. By studying the human dimension of trade, we gain empathy and insight into how economic systems affected real lives, shaped migration patterns, altered family structures, and contributed to the cultural diversity and inequalities we see today. Academic and career preparation. A solid foundation in trade and commerce history is highly beneficial for academic development and professional careers. It equips students with a broad perspective that intersects with fields such as history, economics, political science, business, and global studies. The analytical skills gained through this study, such as critical thinking, historical interpretation, and policy evaluation, are valuable for careers in trade policy, economic development, diplomacy, education, journalism, and finance. Moreover, Understanding the evolution of trade helps students become more informed global citizens who can engage thoughtfully with international issues such as inequality, sustainability, and cooperation. It lays the groundwork for informed decision-making and lifelong learning. Technological and infrastructure innovation. Commerce has always driven innovation. The demands of trade have historically led to the development of better roads, bridges, ports, ships, and later, trains and cargo systems. Advances in navigation, like the compass and astrolabe, were directly tied to the needs of traders and explorers. Financial instruments such as bills of exchange, ledgers, and banking systems arose to facilitate complex transactions over distance and time. More recently, global commerce has driven digital innovations, from e-commerce platforms to blockchain technology. Studying this process allows students to see how economic need catalyzed technological change and how infrastructure, both physical and digital, pins our interconnected world. Environmental and resource impact. While trade has brought economic growth and material wealth, it has also had profound impacts on the environment. Historical trade led to resource extraction on a vast scale, transforming landscapes, depleting natural habitats, and altering ecological balances. Deforestation, soil degradation, and overfishing often accompanied global commodity demands. Maritime trade introduced invasive species and pollution, while overland trade affected animal migration and land use. Today's global trade system continues to raise sustainability concerns, including the carbon footprint of transportation and the environmental cost of fast fashion and consumer electronics. A historical lens allows us to see patterns, learn from past mistakes, and pursue more equitable and environmentally conscious trade practices. Power, inequality, and resistance. Commerce has often reflected and reinforced unequal power dynamics. Colonial powers used trade as a tool for domination, controlling resources, labor, and markets in their colonies. Indigenous communities were often excluded from benefits or devastated by the commercial exploitation of their lands and people. However, history is also rich with examples of resistance, from boycotts and revolts to the rise of fair trade movements and decolonization efforts. By exploring these tensions, students develop a critical understanding of how trade has been both a source of empowerment and oppression. It encourages them to think deeply about justice, ethics, and the possibility of building fairer economic systems in the future. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of trade and commerce history. We've seen how commerce is not just about money or goods, it's about people, ideas, institutions, and the future of our planet. Whether you are pursuing studies in economics, history, global relations, or simply wish to understand the world better, this topic offers powerful insights. As we move forward in an increasingly globalized and complex world, the lessons from trade history remind us to think critically, act ethically, and work toward systems that are inclusive, sustainable, and informed by the past. We hope this presentation inspires further inquiry and meaningful learning.